I'm very privileged to have been given the opportunity to partner with the United Nations.
We are discussing activating and strengthening women empowerment through economic and social inclusion.
Yeah, the United Nations, of course, like we know, is a global stage, you know.
In Nigeria, our government has sought to address above-mentioned challenges by creating conducive atmosphere for women to thrive.
We have to find a way to make sure that the commitment become reality if we really are serious about elevating poverty in Africa.
My wife is a woman. My sister is a woman. My daughter is a woman. I am surrounded by so many women. I fail to ignore their plight.
Today's event was carefully thought out to actually take place at the United Nations, because the issues we are addressing is a global issues. It's not just pertaining to one particular community. So the significance is that we are taking the human trafficking issue, the poverty eradication issue, to the United States on a global stage to get everybody engaged and everybody talking about this. And as a matter of fact, we believe that it's not just about talking anymore, it's about the implementation of what we have been advocating.
On behalf not only of my sisters and brothers around the world, but also here in the United States, we have made remarkable political gains in the political arena here in the United States. We are now governing cities, governing states. In fact, we are just everywhere. In 2018, 107 women will now serve in Congress.
We are based here in the United States, but we also work across different communities all over the world. So our main focus right now outside of the United States is Nigeria was the main focus of today's discussion.
Between two local governments in Edo State. And what they have found out is that it is associated with poverty, like you said, but there are other cultural things that are tied to it. Really very cultural things, traditional. And this is why we needed funding, really funding to intervene and solve the problem. Because what you have now is even more than what you are calling prostitution. The report that just came out last month from the state government indicated that men, the father, are even pregnating their girls. And that's very dangerous.
The challenges are daunting, and that is why it gives me great pleasure, to support the incredible work that my dear sister, Dr. Queen Blessing Itua, as she steps forward with the global empowerment movement to bring us over here so that we can actually discuss and actually put together a strategy that we can actually work on from this point on.
When women are trafficked, and I know you mentioned Nigeria primarily where they're coming from and sent to other countries, they are arrested in record numbers and they are charged with prostitution. Because once you are victimized with human trafficking, which is just globally all over the world and just really hitting this country in record numbers, primarily Atlanta, Texas, we talked about other places, no one is really advocating for these women. When you come out even of the system, you are asked three things on any application. One is, have you ever been arrested? Absolutely. You've been victimized, but now you've been charged with prostitution. One. The second thing was, have you ever been convicted? You will say anything to get out of the criminal justice system in this country, including losing all of your rights, including the right to vote. Three, was it a felony? Absolutely. You are now non-employable in this country.
Hypocrisy is the key to whatever is happening. The same people that are complaining, they do everything to protect their own daughters, their own family. If you touch them, they will kill you. But they go ahead to allow other people. So let's be real to ourselves. We can talk till tomorrow, but when we love ourselves, it becomes real and natural to love other people.
The awareness is really getting noticed. People are beginning to engage, are beginning to talk about this, and people are beginning to work, but there's still room for improvement. I communicate with the NAPTIP, for example, Dame Julie. She's doing an amazing work. The Edo State government, for example, yes, they're doing amazing work. The government, they're trying, but what I'm saying is that there's still a lot of room for improvement. There's still a lot of work to be done. And it takes all of us, not just the government, not just certain agencies, but all of us to be educated and be aware, be empowered to know the kind of things to look out for, the indicators to look out for, to know if a child is in danger, or whatever is going on, so that when we see something, we see something.
According to the global research, Edo State is a sex trafficking hub with built-in infrastructures and networks which support the sale of human bodies. An astounding 94% of all Nigerian women being trafficked to Europe for prostitution hail from Edo State, with Italy being the #1 destination country to deliver these human bodies. Poverty remains the #1 factor rendering women and girls vulnerable to sex trafficking.
Following the United Nations Human Rights Office of the High Commission in its Resolution 2064, the Commission identified key attributes of good governance as follows, and I quote: transparency, responsibility, accountability, participation, responsiveness to the need of the people. But unfortunately, this is a challenge and a dilemma to some of our African nations.
As a Queen Mother, I've sort of like been around this UN for about 50 years, thanks to Nigeria and thanks to Tanzania for making that a reality. And as a humanitarian, now it's time for us to do one thing from what I have heard, and that is implementation.
Protecting women's rights is human right. Our government needs to be able to invest in the future. And the future of a nation is the women and the youth. Without that, there is no future for Africa. Yes, Africa is not poor. Africa has never been poor, but Africa has been poorly managed. And we as Africans around the world and the rest of the world, the UN has to be intentional in this process.
I'm ecstatic. I'm happy. This is what I'm doing. I'm happy and I'm thankful to God for the insight. There's still a room for improvement. But in one sentence, I'm grateful to God for the progress made, and I'm looking forward for God's guidance and the lead to the next level, because we have to make a change. Not just by talking about it, but actually by implementation of the things that we do. It starts with each and every one of us. You cannot wait for somebody else. You cannot say, okay, for the other person, you're not the next door person. No, it starts with you. It starts with me. So I'm doing my part, and I'm not going to relent. So I feel very positive that this particular zeal and passion is only going to be contagious, and a lot of people are going to see the need to really take up the mantle of leadership and empowerment.